Okay, so I have ZBrush open here. I go to Load Tool and I have the basic body 5, the last one we left with. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag and immediately go to Edit. And if I had my lightbox on when I opened it up, I just push lightbox to turn that off. Here we are in the middle. My material, I will change to my basic material. Okay. And I noticed something before here. I want to, what we're going to do here is we're going to create normal maps, displacement maps. We're going to add some detail. We're going to paint it. And then we're going to export also some texture maps and apply them. What I noticed going on with this, I wasn't able to subdivide it. And the reason is when it was telling me before hiding it, there was hidden polys. So what I'm going to do is do a Control Shift and then I'll click and drag on the background. I'll hold Control and click and drag on the background. And this will make it so that if there's any polys that are hidden or masked, they'll now be unhidden and unmasked because it wasn't letting me divide it. It wasn't showing up before. So now I'm going to go ahead and click Divide. And you see we have this thing that says Subdivision Level 2. I'll click it again. Subdivision Level 3 is there. I might even click it again. Subdivision Level 4. And so what I'm starting to see here, I can change my brush. I can change it to, say, the DM standard brush. And I can start to add some details to my mesh. I can do things like this. You can add things that you want to add to it. You don't have to do what I'm doing. And in fact, I would recommend that you not. I'm just trying to show this example here of what we're doing. We're adding some final detail. I can add things like, let's see, if I switch my brush, I'll switch it to just the standard brush. And I'll switch the stroke here where it says dots. I will click this, I'll put on drag rectangle, and for the alpha, I'll add an alpha. Let's try, let's see here, I got this one. I can go ahead and drag that on here, and we can see these details being added. Now, this isn't necessarily something that you would want, but something you might want is, say, let's click alpha, and I will click import. I'll go to my C drive. I'll go to program files. I'm looking for Pixelogic, and let's see here. I have ZBrush 2022, Z alphas. Yours might be under Maxsun, and I'm looking for. We have these here. We have alphas that we can import. I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to click Open. And there we go. If I click here now, we see some here on the bottom, such as Bumpy Skin 2, Bumpy Skin 13, Leathery Skin. Let's try this Leathery Skin 15 here. I'll go ahead and click and drag. Maybe I want to do Alt to subtract it. What other ones do we have? We got this one. So we got some cool old people textures or something kind of lizardy. We can use that. Or maybe we don't want that. Maybe we want to do something much more lighter. So let's turn on our Z intensity to something like 8. Let's turn this up a bit. And I can make something like pores, or something like that. This could work even. Different pores on different regions. something to give some texture to the skin if I'm trying to do something fairly realistic. Okay, we do something like that. Let's see what other ones we got. This is like a, this is more scaly and snake-like, and you probably don't want something like that. But we could do pores. We could do other things. Okay, and that is cool. So I'm going to switch this. I'm going to switch back from my stroke to, say, dots. Take off my alpha. I'm going to look at color. We can add texture. We've already showed that too. Now we can add color. We can add color and texture at the same time. So I want to go down here on the right, and I'm going to go down to the section here that says Poly Paint. Where am I looking here? Poly Paint, right above UV Map. And I will click Colorize. All right, and I'm going to choose a color. I'll go ahead and click here in the menu for color. I can also see the color menu here, but I'm going to do it up here because I get this fill object. And so I'm going to go ahead and fill this with a color. Say fill object. There we go. All right, and if we wanted to, if we were doing this again with, let's see, we want RGB on here. And if I wanted to drag and put back my alpha and do one of these weird skin things, I can make it a slightly darker color. If I wanted to add some texture painting at the same time, I can, so that's something. This isn't the best. I can make it, let's see, let's make it more of a pink-ish. Some of that. Okay, so I can do that. I can also, instead of doing pores, pores are great, but I'm going to turn these off, and I'm going to go back into, say, freehand, and I'm going to turn off add, and then I'm going to say with my textures, like I can click and drag here to catch this original texture, and I can paint. I turned off my Z add, so I'm not sculpting. I got my Z RGB intensity at 100. But let's say I want to make this to where certain parts are more reddish. I could turn down my RGB intensity way down, and I can make, say, the cheeks a little bit more red, right? You can make, let's go over here, this region here, the upper cheek, just a little bit more pinkish, right? I can make the tip of the nose, and here a little bit more reddish too. I can make right here on the eye, right? I want the inside of the mouth to be more red. Lips. I could do the inside of the mouth. I could do the inside of the mouth from here. Let's look at this. Let's look from the side. And I'll make this on the side view. And I'll do a control shift, and I'll click and drag here just over the mouth. And look at that. That's the only thing I'll see besides the interior of the hair. I could turn off the visibility for the hair. Click subtool. This eye next to the hair there. I'll turn that off. Let's look at the side view again. Do Control Shift, and I'm going to click and drag and get a bigger portion here. I want to see, let's see, Control Shift. There we go. Now I can see like the interior of the mouth. Cool. So here I want to color the inside of the mouth. So I'm doing it right here. I can see it from this part, just the bottom. I'll turn it up here, and I can see the top. Right. Let's see, I'll turn this down. That was S to change my brush size. And I'm here and making kind of an edge to my lips. All right, I'll do Control Shift and click and drag on Control Shift and click once on the background. That'll make everything visible. I'm turning back up my draw size. I'm putting a little bit more pink here on the top of the chin, a little bit here on the cheeks, a little bit here on the upper lip, some here on the lobe, and right here around the edge of the ear, right? Let's see, right here, a little bit in here. Various parts of the neck too. Kind of where the meat is, a lot of, that's more reddish, right? And then I'm going to switch to something like, let's switch to a little bit more yellow. And I can start to, go here for the bridge of the nose. I can do areas of the kind of the bony areas is what we're looking at, more yellow, right? And it's lightly put on there. I could even change this. I can go to alpha and I can change this to something like this. And since it's so light, it'll kind of speckle it on there without being so obvious, right? Yellow kind of speckles. And that'll work. Top of here. See a little bit mixed in here for the upper lip. A little bit down here for the bony part under the chin. Let's see, I want some of these areas here in the ear that are kind of cartilagey or bony to have some of that yellow, right? Let's see where else. And then we're going to switch this to blue. And for the blue, I'm looking at kind of everything that's underneath here has kind of got a blue to it. Underneath the eye here. Underneath this part of the eye a little bit. Maybe underneath the nose. Underneath the chin, and see what's going on in here. Let's not forget that these areas, this lower part of the face kind of has more of a blue tinge to it. Underneath here. See, we're just kind of adding some subtle hues here. Not a lot. I could put these in other areas. We can echo the same thing with the rest of the body. I'm concentrating on the head now to give kind of a sense of that. Do some of this purple just a little bit. Right over here underneath the eye. Right over here. Just a little bit, not a lot. I can kind of even it out with my color. Let's pick our skin color again. I'll put this back on, take off my alpha. Some of these parts here are a little rough, but my skin tone's actually pretty cool. Right? All right, let's switch. Let's go turn off our RGB. Well, we could turn on RGB. We could do Z sub. Switch to DM standard, Z sub, RGB, and let's put this on a dark red. And I'm gonna do this and do kind of a, okay, cool. Okay, so I've added some texture. I've added some color. I can go on and I can do this to the whole body, and you'll want to do that. But I want to get into showing you what these next steps are into getting this part out. So basically, my subtool here, if I go to geometry, I can go ahead and turn this down to my subdivision level 1. That works fine. And I can go to export. Oh, hang on. We're going to go to first Z plugin, subtool master. I'm going to save my Z tool. I'm going to call it basic body 6. Save. We'll end up turning that in. I'm also going to do export. We're going to export this out as an OBJ. Body mesh.obj works. I can also call it UV on there will work, indicating it has its UVs. Save it. All right, I'm going to look at my Z plugin and I'm going to look at this thing called Multi-Map Exporter. I got my texture from Polypaint. I want that on. I'm going to click Displacement. I'm also going to click Normal. We're going to export all of these out at the same time. I want to make sure to go to my export options. For displacement map, I want to make sure I have Smooth UV on, 32-bit EXR. I think we want on our Smooth UV. We'll double check. My displacement map, the subdivision level, I'll have that set at 1. I'm exporting this out at level 1, and so the map will be fit to that level. Okay. I'm going to expand this other one for normal map, and for that, I want tangent selected. I want S normals on, and we'll just go ahead and click Smooth UV. Why not? We'll see how well this works. Smooth UV might be an option we might end up having to turn off later. But right now, we're going to click Create All Maps. I'm going to designate this into the space where I've been saving my other files for it. I don't want it to save in the ZBrush folder. That's something that I'd have to dig into, and I don't want to do that. So here's my class folder, and I'm going to here, and here are the textures. I can click a new folder and click textures, save them in there. I'll double click here, and then I will call this basic body. I'll just leave it at basic body. It's going to save as a type EXR. I'll click save. The other ones it'll save as a TIFF. And it's saying here at the top, creating normal map, subdividing geometry, exporting. It says all maps created and exported. Let's see how well we did. We're going to open up Maya. Okay, I've opened up Maya. I'll click new. My workspace I'll set back on, we'll keep it here on UV editing, I guess. I'll go to File, Import. I'm going to import this OBJ that I've created. Okay, here I have body mesh UV, OBJ. I will import that. You see it here. I'm going to select it. Notice when I select it, it's got the UV map on it. Great. You also notice, look at that, how it's kind of rough, right? You can see the polys on it. I'm going to select it. I'm going to go to Mesh Display, Soften Edge. Great. That'll make it nice and smooth. Okay. And now at this point, I'm going to go up here to this teal the hyper shade button. If you've used Maya before, you're familiar with this. Okay. And in here, I'm just going to make this window narrow enough to cover right here where it says UV Editor. Right here in Create, I'll do a search bar. I'll search for AI Standard Surface. There we go. It's AI Standard Surface I have selected. And I'm going to call it, I'll just call it Skin Matte. Okay. Great. I'm going to go ahead and click and drag with my middle mouse button this to the model. The color I'll turn down here in base to like a halfway point where it's kind of gray. And let's start first with our normal. So if I scroll down here, I can go to where it says geometry. And right here where it says bump mapping, I can click that. And I get this folder that opens up. I'll go to File. Click File 1 and Image Name. I will find the normal map that I've created. The one that says NM stands for normal map. I'll go ahead and click Open. Okay. I want to go to Arnold and go to Lights. I'll go ahead and create a sky dome light. See, this is set to gray. I'm going to go ahead and click Renderer, Arnold, and go ahead and click this arrow here and see how this renders out. We might have to turn our light down some. Okay, and that happened. Okay, so I have it set as that. So what I want to do is I want to change it. It's being used as a bump map. We can see that here where we have this region. See, it says normal camera. It's plugged into it. It made this bump 2D. We'll select that. It says use as bump. Let's go ahead and click this and click tangent space normals. And now we're starting to see that it doesn't look like the rings on a tree that it's rendered. Let's see if we can get any detail in here. Okay, and so I'm not really with this. I wasn't really seeing a lot going on, and there's a few reasons why. If I wanted to make a regular bump map, this node that I've created, the bump 2D, would work in the same place in the normal camera. And a bump map can be made similar to a normal map, only it's black and white. And in fact, our displacement map is also a black and white image. So what I need to do is add an extra node in here, and I need to do a few things. I went ahead and I selected my light, and I have here, I did a Control A. You see here, that opened my attribute editor here, and for my intensity of my light, I turned it down. I turned it down to, let's put this on 0.2, put this fairly low. And then, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new light. I'm going to go to Arnold, lights. Before we do, let's save what we have. We're going to go to File, Save Scene As, because this might start to bog down. My computer, and here we go. Oop. And I will go ahead and call this body texture maps. Will work. Save as. I saved as a Maya ASCII. A Maya binary will work as well. It's just a Maya file. Either one. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to Arnold, Lights, and I'm going to create a area light. This area light, we see if I zoom out, it has been created here. I'm going to pull it over, and I'm going to click E to rotate it. And we're going to start to see some things happening here. In the attribute editor, you see for exposure, I'm going to put this on to something like 3. There we go. And now with 3, we start to see at an angle some things lit up in our character. All right. And I see it render here with my renderer. So I have the bump 2D plugged in. What I want to do is here in the hypershade, I'm going to click the tab key. And when I do, I get a search box that opens, and I'm going to type in AI normal. And we see we get an option here, AI normal map, not normalize, but AI normal map. We're going to click that. And we still have this file selected. This file 1 that we have here actually contains our normal map. And we're going to plug it in from out color into input here where it says normal map 1. And then from normal map 1 where it says out value, we will plug that into, and let's get a good look at this. We'll plug that right in there into normal camera, and it'll take over. We don't really need this bump 2D. All right, and we're starting to see something. It's starting to render here. We want to select here where it says file 1. And we want to make sure mine was on originally sRGB. We want to take this color space and put this onto, yeah, we see that here. Nothing really shows up, but I'm going to go ahead and with this file 1 selected, change that to utility raw. We're putting that color space on raw. And when we do, we're starting to see a little bit of things happening. I'm starting to see that line that I created around my neck. There's a little bit of stuff here on the face as well that I can start to see. Remember, I made some bumps on the face. My sculpting was quite subtle, and I probably should have made something stronger. That probably would have helped me better to prove what I have. But if I select here where I have, let's see, I have my AI normal map. We'll select that. And you see where it says here, strength, it's set to 1. What if I put this all the way up on, say, 4? Now all of a sudden, we're starting to see these bumps that I've added. We're seeing that split that I created right around the neck. We should be able to see things here for the lips a little bit. So, if I made these things more obvious, they'd show up a little bit more. I can even go back into ZBrush. I can make some other maps. I'll put this back on subdivision level 4. And let's go ahead with my AI standard or DAM standard brush. I'm just going to do something like, I'll click Alt and I'll go ahead and make something like this. Let's see, I don't want it on RGB. I just want Z add. and click S. And I'm going to go ahead and add something in here. There we go. Okay. This will make it a bit more obvious. From this point, I'm going to put this back on subdivision level 1. You see some things added there. I'm going to go ahead and go to, might as well export and export out this body mesh UV again, .obj. Click save. Replace it? Yes, I do. And let's see where my maps are. I might as well delete the ones that are here. I don't need them. I'm going to replace them. And I want to make it not any more confusing. So here we are inside of textures. I've saved them. I'm going to go ahead and just delete these. I don't need them. Because it's open in Maya. Click cancel. Let's open up Maya. And I'll say this is deleted. Deleted. All right. I'll delete these again. There we go. That's okay. I'll go back to ZBrush, and I'm going to go to Z plugin and create all maps. Here we are. I'll call this basic body textures. Save. Let's see these save out. Okay. And here I am back in Maya. I have my normal map. I can select here. Let's see. In input, I can select this box next to it and select file. There we go. With file selected, I can click image name. Find this again. Okay, so I had my NM. There was one that was here. That's the old one, which I can see at my time. This one was saved at 6:38, but the one I've just done is saved now at 7:23. I'll click open. Okay, my color space from our sRGB, I want to select that. Here, we can even take a look at it now. Let's see what it looks like. We got something here, and it actually shows up okay. I'm going to click delete for my character because I want to import file, import. I'm going to put the new character, which is bodymeshuv.obj, import. Comes in with its own material. I'll just move these out of the way. I just want to select the AI standard skin here. You see that it's there. It's got something there, but it's still odd, right? There's various spots on it that are weird. So we want to go ahead and where it says File 1, we'll go ahead and click, instead of sRGB, we'll click here and go to Scene Utility and put it on RAW. We can start to see this render out. Now it starts to look more normal. We can see that this looks real strong, the detail that we've added. It does look a little choppy. It looks a little polygony. Remember, we have to select this. Then we'll go to Mesh Display, Soften Edge. And I'll deselect it. Now we get a good look. And there we go. And it's not too shabby. Look at that. So what we've done here was we've added a normal map. Normal maps, now the thing with them is that they don't change your contour, even though this has some stuff already sculpted into the basic mesh, but it changes the appearance. Normal maps are used typically in video games. You're making stuff that you want to export to Unreal, Unity, other things like that with a real-time renderer. This is where you want to use is a normal map attached to it. And this is how we're doing it. However, here in doing stuff for TV or movies, oftentimes instead of normal maps, you can use a normal map too, but you can also use a displacement map. And displacement maps will actually alter the silhouette. They will change the geometry during render time. If I turn off my renderer, if I turn this back onto viewport 2.0, look at that. This is what we've got. We've got some kind of lumps in there, but not anything specific. Our geometry is still low poly. It's still like this. We turn on renderer and Arnold. Now we start to see this stuff. It creates the illusion that there's polys there. But let's go ahead. We're going to unplug this from the normal camera. And instead, we're going to grab this area here where it says the AI Standard Surface 1 SG, and where it says Displacement Material, we'll go ahead and click this little checker box next to it. And I'm going to click File, and we get a new file that opens. It says Displacement Shader, and then File, right next to it. In this file, I'm going to go ahead and click Image Name, and I'm going to go to that same folder. I'm going to find my displacement map. It should be called the same name, DM. All right, and here where it says Basic Body Texture DM is what we're looking for, .exr. Click Open. So I'm applying that. We start to see something render, and it renders all huge. What's up with that, right? Okay. So let's see. I've got my displacement shader selected, and in my displacement right here, where it says displacement shader, I selected that node. This takes a little finagling. I'll go here to where it says Arnold, and on my scalar 0 value, I'll put that on 0.5. Now we're starting to see it's not all bubbly, right? And if I select my actual figure, I have it selected, and I have my attribute editor open here. If you don't see it, it should be here on the top. This is the thing that goes here. I think it's also Control A. And I can expand here where it says Arnold. And again, I'm going to this area where it says Subdivision. And where it says Subdivision, because I want to see, like we can already see some detail in here, but I want to make it much better. Where it says Type None, I'll put it on Cat Clark. And the iterations, I'm going to put this on 4. Right? So let's see how that looks. Okay, starting to come through here. Let's let that render out. There might be some other things. Let's take a look. Okay, this is rendering. I'm going to click stop and let's see if I can get it to render some more. It's a little spotty in its render. I don't know what's going on. I think it's just I've got a lot going on here. Let's click stop. I'll go ahead and let's click the render view. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a render with this and just take a look at what it looks like. I click this clapboard right here to get a good look at it. I'll let that render. Okay, and that looks pretty cool. Look at that. It looks pretty detailed in its render. Blow this up a little bit and get a good look at it. Not too shabby. Okay. So let's see what else we can do. If you've used Maya before, and I'm assuming many of you have, I can select here in the skin material. Remember, we can go to the top, and where it says color, I have it on this gray color, but we can click this box and click File. And here with the file selected, we can click the image name. And again, we'll go to the same place. We've saved out a texture map. Let's see what we got. And I'm looking for the one that says TM. Here we go. Body TM. We can see that it's got the color and everything. I'll click apply or I'll open. Let's go ahead and render this out. All right, and there we go. We can see it applied. Now I've got a little too much uh, uh, shininess there. I can always go here to where, let's see, where is roughness? We can put it up on what point? Let's see. Uh, let's say 0.5. There we go. You know, we could do more, right? If you've messed around with Maya at all, you could probably do some stuff with some subsurface scattering. But we brought this over. We've applied a normal map, we applied a displacement map. We've added our texture. We're going to go ahead and do a file, save scene. I want to go to File, Archive Scene. As you know, archiving it will, here, I'll close this out and this out. Our file archive scene it should show where it's saved the file. It should save it in the same place. It just saves it as a zip file. Let's see it here. Let's see. Here's my body texture maps. And then here's my body texture maps.ma as a WinZip file or a zip file. That is what I will turn in for the assignment. I can also turn in my painted model. That'll work too. I will go to Z plugin, go to Subtool Master, Save Z Tool, and this is Basic Body 6. I'll click Save, yes, and I'm going to turn both of those in. The zip file from Maya and the ZBrush file with the paint and everything on it. And that is what you'll turn in. I hope that you've enjoyed this class. I know that there's a lot of work to it. It's been 6 weeks in a short amount of time, but I hope that you've enjoyed it and that you've gained some knowledge out of it and seen how powerful ZBrush can be. I've just gone over some things here in a kind of a way that's kind of basic, but you can do a lot more with it, as I'm sure you've seen in the scopes that it's shown you on the home page when you open the program. My main goal here was to try to get you through from creating things in ZBrush, going through the basics, and getting them out and putting them in Maya. I hope that that's worked for you. And thank you. If you have any problems, please feel free to contact me. And good luck to you in the future.